Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm going to go through a handful of my favourite AEW wrestlers and why. They're not in really a particular order, they're just randomly put in together. But yeah, I hope you all enjoy it, and do comment below some of your favourite AEW wrestlers. First off, I've got MJF, and I mean, he's got everything someone could possibly need to be a great wrestler, in my opinion. You know, he's fantastic in the ring, great character, and probably the best heel in the industry right now, and yet he continues to be cheered. I'd argue that due to his age and the quality of wrestling that he does, he is arguably AEW's biggest asset right now, and even though he does incredibly unlikable things, he's one of the most likable things about AEW right now, if that makes sense. And yeah, I don't really understand how you or anyone could dislike MJF in like the way of hating him overall, just because he's so good at wrestling and everything that comes with wrestling. That, like, as I said, because he gets cheered so much is because, you know, he's just overall a great part of wrestling right now, and arguably like one of the best things about wrestling in general right now. After that, I have Jamie Hayter, and for me, though it feels like we haven't seen a lot of Jamie since she came back last year, you know, she had a very good showing in the Owen Hart tournament, and she had a great match with Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing earlier this year. But for me, her run from 2022 into 2023 was absolutely mega, and it showed like just how good she was, not only in ring but character-wise as well. And yeah, it feels like once we get back to that point with Jamie Hayter, which I really feel like we should get back to at some point, and like she has a proper run back, because obviously she's been gone again recently, I believe, due to visa issues that she's been gone recently. But like, if they give her like a decent run with the TBS Championship, maybe have her be the one to defeat Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship, so Mercedes can then concentrate more on defeating Toni Storm and becoming the AEW Women's World Champion, then, you know, Hayter can have that kind of more dominant run as champion that she should have got longer with the Women's Championship. And yeah, I don't know, it's just something about Hayter. I mean, again, it could be just, I mean, it's not the British thing as much, I'm not really bothered about that kind of stuff. But like, just her hard-hitting style, I like the promos that she does, the whole beating the piss out of people, kind of, I don't know, it's just something I quite like about Jamie Hayter's character. And yeah, it's like, I've been a fan of her since she re-debuted with Britt Baker on like the first or second Rampage that they ever did. So yeah, so that's why Jamie Hayter makes my list. Next, I have Willow Nightingale, and yeah, I've said this multiple times on the channel, but the fact that Willow has this whole happy-go-lucky babyface smiley character, but makes it work like to a point where it's really over, very similar to what Bayley was doing in NXT with the side ponytail and, you know, having the Bayley buddies. But I think what makes this especially better with Willow is the fact that she can get really good and really serious when needs be. You know, you think back to the street fight with Chris Statlander that I love very much, Anarchy in the Arena earlier this year, as well as a load of other street fights that she's had and just matches in general, is that she can really turn it on when she needs to. And, you know, the happy-go-lucky babyface thing doesn't last all the time, because she can go out there and pretty much beat the crap out of somebody should she need. And yeah, that's what like makes this way more, like, her characters are way more appealing to me than other happy-go-lucky babyfaces that we've had in the past before that I really haven't liked. But yeah, I think she's had like a really good past couple of years that I'm surprised she hasn't been pushed further up the card come this point, though it feels like we're kind of on the cusp of pushing her more towards the main event scene soon. You know, putting her in the storyline with the Death Riders is obviously a main event caliber storyline, so having her in there kind of suggests that they're going to start pushing her a little bit. But obviously Tony and Mercedes have a vice grip on the women's main event scene right now that it kind of is hard to push through into that right now. But no, I feel like one of the next 3 women's world champions is probably going to be Willow Nightingale. Next, I have Konosuke Takeshita, and if anyone is the future of AEW, it's this guy. I'm absolutely convinced of it. In big matches, he does not miss. From the likes of Will Ospreay to Ricochet to Bandido to Bolton Oleg in New Japan to Kenny Omega, he just doesn't seem to have a bad match in him right now, to be fair. And yeah, all this we're doing, whether it's tag matches, whether it's singles matches, whether it's championship matches, all of them have been absolutely great to watch. And yeah, I generally look forward to seeing how much Takeshita grows within AEW, as well as seeing him in New Japan and other places as well. Currently right now he is competing in the G1 Climax, which I believe it's his second G1, which I've been enjoying watching, and I feel like, though he had to unfortunately forfeit his match with Gabe Kidd, which I was very disappointed about. I felt like that would have been an absolute banger. He's going to have a great showing in that, and I feel like he's probably at some point in the future going to be one of, if not the best wrestler in the world, because he's I think he's young as well. I believe he's only in his 20s, I believe. Maybe his early 30s. So he has like a long career ahead of him as well. And I just love watching his matches, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future as far as when he eventually gets to that main event and world title level. To that, I have Swerve Strickland, and I mean, how can you not like Swerve? From his wrestling to his promos to his absolutely awesome theme. His world title run recently was absolutely great, and seeing him from his WWE run as just a cruiserweight and the mid-card division of NXT to becoming a world champion in AEW, have been absolutely fantastic to watch, and it's kind of a story you can't not like, I mean, in my opinion. But no, the whole aesthetic of Swerve works really well in any kind of way, whether he's a heel, whether he's a babyface, whether he's a tweener. Very simply put, I think he's someone, as I said, who you just can't not like, because like his whole, I don't want to say, but kind of aura around him just makes him so appealing to pretty much anyone, I'd argue. I mean, I haven't heard anyone say that they don't like Swerve Strickland from all of the wrestling YouTubers I listen to, and the podcasts and the articles I read. Everyone seems to like Swerve in one way or another. So yeah, very, very safe pick for this one. But yeah, Swerve 100% makes my list for this one. Next up, I have Christian Cage, and though Christian Cage isn't the best wrestler in AEW, and his in-ring stuff isn't the best of their roster, his character work as the father has been absolutely brilliant to see. It's arguably one of my favourite characters in the last few years, and has really given him a career resurgence in AEW, in my opinion. If you look back at the feuds with Adam Copeland, with Darby Allin, with Jack Perry when he was Jungle Boy, they were so good. And like, though this year's been like not as great as normal, and the patriarchy stuff has been concentrating mostly on Nick Wayne, who's had a fantastic year so far, in my opinion. And I think my only worry is, because of the turn all in of Nick Wayne, that Christian Cage is going to go back to being a babyface, and maybe it won't be as good. Though I've been a big fan of Christian Cage when he was a babyface helping Jurassic Express, to when he was in WWE, to all that kind of stuff. So I don't think I'll massively dislike Christian now. It's just that I hate Cope, and I worry that he's going to become a bit more like Cope, which would be terrible. But no, I say Christian has always been my preferred out of Edge and Christian, and I say I've really enjoyed his AEW run so far, and I'd argue his character work, as being the father and the leader of the patriarchy, has been some of the best stuff on AEW TV at times. After that, I have Athena, and I've liked Athena since her NXT run, in the first one she had, when she was taking on the likes of Asuka and Shayna Baszler and all that kind of stuff. But Athena has brought like a whole new meaning of wrestling when it comes to Ring of Honor as well. Arguably, Ring of Honor since Tony Khan bought it, at least. And she's probably been the best thing about Ring of Honor just over the last couple of years. Her title run in Ring of Honor has been next to immaculate. And just like, not just her success as Ring of Honor World Champion, it's been, nearly 1,000 days at this point. But, her in-ring stuff as well has been great. I'm glad that they're trying to finally transition it into AEW television. She just won that, obviously, AEW Women's World Championship match, the contract at All In, which was great. I loved the fact that she won that match when, it would be very easy to not give her that win because she's the Ring of Honor World Champion. But I think, you look at the likes of the great matches she's had with Willow Nightingale. She had a great match with Thunder Rosa at Supercard of Honor, and the multiple matches with Billie Starkz that she's had. It just, like, everything about Athena works really well right now. The whole stuff with the minions has been some of the best stuff on Ring of Honor TV, and the only reason I follow Ring of Honor TV on social media and on YouTube is to watch those segments with Athena. So for me, arguably one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now, and I feel like she's only going to get better the more she gets put on AEW television and more she gets, even bigger opponents to have on AEW television. So for me, Athena, I think Athena is arguably one of my favorite female wrestlers in AEW right now. Next up, I have Jon Moxley, and from an overall sense, Jon Moxley is my favorite AEW wrestler, of all time, which I know isn't very long, but you know what I mean. For me, I've backed everything Moxley's done, and even the Death Rider stuff, I know it hasn't been great, and it's not the best stuff he's done, but I still kind of enjoyed it at times. I've liked the matches that he's had with the likes of Orange Cassidy and the 4-way he had at World's End, sorry. But the match with Swerve I thought was really good as well. But overall as well, I feel like, I know they sometimes maybe hit the emergency Jon Moxley World Champion button maybe a bit too often in the past. But as I said, I've enjoyed his world title reigns. I feel like if anyone should have been a full-time world champion at this point, probably should have been Moxley or Hangman, so I'm glad it was Moxley. But no, I think back to the extreme nature of his matches, matches with Hangman and Page, the 2 Texas Death matches they had were immaculate in my opinion. I love those 2 matches. Bryan Danielson, Orange Cassidy, Kenny Omega, are some of my favourite matches of his in AEW. And I think from in-ring to theme to promos to just overall wrestling, I just really enjoy everything he does. So that's pretty much why. I mean, it's hard for me to say a lot about Jon Moxley because it's just a case of I see him or see whatever he does as a positive for AEW. So I just end up repeating myself a lot. But for me, Moxley is probably my overall favourite, in my opinion. But obviously. So my penultimate pick is Chris Statlander. Statlander's one of the first wrestlers I really got into when it came to AEW. When she was doing the alien gimmick, that made me really curious about it. And when I was hearing about AEW, Statlander was one of the names that really stood out to me. Then I tuned in and watched her match with Britt Baker at All Out 2021, and I absolutely loved that match. I'd argue that it is one of the best just in-ring wrestling-wise women's matches in AEW history. And I think just when it comes to Chris Statlander, it's a massive shame that she hasn't kind of come to a point where I feel like she should have she should have been a world champion by now. She should be in the main event scene. But it simply hasn't been the case, probably due to her 2 long-term injuries. And obviously more recently, she's kind of been stuck, has been lost in the shuffle a lot. But no, I feel like for Chris Statlander, she is one of the best women's wrestlers on the AEW roster right now, and I feel like people don't really realise how good she is as from an overall place as well. She can do the extreme stuff. We see her in the tag team street fights and the fantastic match with Willow at All Out 2024, All Out last year, I think. But then also great wrestling matches that she's had, as I said, with the likes of Britt Baker, and the 2 matches she had with Mercedes Moné late last year as well were absolutely fantastic. So I said everything that Chris Statlander seems to do, very similar to Jon Moxley, I just back and get behind because I feel like it works really well every time. I know that the heel run maybe didn't work as well as they wanted to, but I'd say that I can't help but back everything she does, which is why she's one of my favourites. And finally, my last pick of this favourites list, which as I said isn't really in order, but you know what I mean, but is arguably my favourite wrestler currently at the minute. I have an overall favourite in Moxley, but right now my favourite wrestler in the whole world is Will Ospreay. And for me, he is the best in-ring wrestler right now. I absolutely love his matches. He's also a Brit, which helps, but that's kind of not important. It's not why I like him solely. But for me, it's just his enjoyment, or the enjoyment I get when watching his matches. And some of his matches are absolutely incredible. You think back to the 2 matches he's had with Takeshita, the 2 matches he had with Kenny Omega, which I know one of them was in New Japan, but still, as well as the triple threat with Ricochet and Takeshita. And just like most matches he had that are singles matches, Swerve as well comes to mind. They are just absolutely great matches. And whenever I see Will Ospreay in a singles match, I know to tune in because it is just an absolute masterclass of wrestling. And I said, very similar to Statlander and Moxley, I back whatever he does. I'm fully behind it. And 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, I know I'm going to really, really enjoy it. And I said, I look forward to seeing just how far he goes in AEW, and I can't wait to see him finally win the World Championship, because I feel like it's been a long time coming, even though he's only been in the company, just over a 2 years or just under 2 years. But yes, I absolutely love Will Ospreay. So those are some of my favourite AEW wrestlers right now. I know there are some people that I just didn't mention, you know, the likes. I didn't mention Toni Storm, but I didn't really know what to write for her that wasn't just very repetitive. Bobby Lashley I'm a big fan of, as well as, you know, many others on the roster as well. But no, those are like believe like 12 or 13 of some of my favorites. Do comment down below some of your favorite AEW superstars superstars, AEW wrestlers, and why. And yes, if you enjoyed this kind of video, do leave a like, do leave a comment, and I'll kind of do more stuff like that. I've got one done earlier this year. I believe it was just after WrestleMania for my favorite WWE superstars, so do go check that one out. I'll link it at the end of the video if you do want to see it. But yeah, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, do leave it a like, so I know. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.